So it comes out now, finally, the numbers don't lie, guys.
This is exactly what I've been waiting for.
And if you've been watching my videos, you know that I've been saying this is the reason why you go onto CNBC and you see Jamie Dimon, you see all these hedge funds and these banks saying, oh, it's gonna pivot, the Fed is going to pivot. Now the information comes out the reason why. And I told you guys, these guys are losing so much money. But now we have the evidence, guys. Listen, housing is so unaffordable that banks are losing money for each mortgage they finance for the first time ever. Well, look at that. They're losing money because housing is so unaffordable. And this is the reason why they can't wait until the Fed pivots, because they're losing money on each transaction. The demand is so low to purchase homes that they are having to lose money. And this is the reason why we're seeing layoffs. This is the reason why we're seeing banks and finance institutions lobbying and being on mainstream media saying, they're gonna pivot, they're gonna pivot, they're gonna pivot. We've seen it over and over and over again, guys. My name is Orlando and welcome to the channel, guys. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help out the channel. Also, check out in the description, I have a course for real estate investing for beginners and a YouTube course. I have a coupon code that's in the description. Let's jump into this, guys, because this is information you have to know so that you can be informed of what's happening and why these banks are continuing to want things to go in their direction, guys.
It's an evil world we live in.
The housing market is so unaffordable that certain banks lost money for each mortgage they financed last year. The first time this has ever happened, according to Mortgage Bankers Association. Guys, I have been saying this over and over and over again, and I hope you guys have been hearing me on this. I know my subscribers and viewers previously, but if you're new to the channel, I have been saying over and over again, guys, you cannot follow CNBC and look at what these pundits are saying. They're having these guests on saying, so are you saying they're gonna pivot? And then Jamie Dimon says,
yeah, he's gonna pivot, guys. He has to pivot, because if he doesn't pivot, you know, it's XYZ is gonna happen, and you know, it would actually help out housing in the economy and actually make it stronger if he pivots.
And I mean, oh, great performance, CEO of huge bank. Great performance for a hedge fund. Oh man, what could be making them say that? Maybe because on every loan that they're doing now, they're losing money on it, guys. And I know what you guys are thinking.
Orlando, how are they losing money? How are these guys losing money?
Well, when you add in employees, when you add in the office that they're in, internet, Wi-Fi, all the benefits that they're paying their employees, it's not looking good.
Reinvest the earnings into foreign currency accounts with compounding interest, and it's gone.
And I think a lot of individuals don't understand that the way mortgage companies or banks look at it is they look at how much money are they making per income from each mortgage. And if that income goes down, then they have to, they have to start making some moves. And they've seen a decrease come in, which has never happened, guys. That just shows you exactly where we are in this cycle. And, I know that some people on YouTube would say,
Orlando, I don't know what you're talking about. Housing is going to continue to go through the moon.
We're going to continue to see 30-40% increases. So I don't know where you're coming at with this housing market. I mean, my question would be like, so you think that banks want to lose money? You think that a bank losing money on mortgage the first time ever, that's something that is normal? If you think that, then, hey, maybe I'm not the channel for you. Maybe you can go over there with butterflies and sunshine and all that stuff that doesn't even make sense. We're just talking about reality, guys. This isn't a scenario where this stuff isn't really happening. This is stuff that's actually happening in this universe, in this world. This is happening, and banks are losing money on mortgages for the first time ever since profits have been started to be recorded. I think it was in 2008. But let's continue on out, it says in 2022, independent mortgage banks and mortgage subsidiaries of charter banks lost an average of $301 for every mortgage that they financed. And let me tell you what, being in a mortgage, being a lender myself, that is death. Let me tell you this, guys. No financial institution wants to lend money and lose. They're not doing that on every mortgage. So what am I lending the money for? Think about that. Why would I lend money if I'm going to lose $301 every time I lend? Just think about that. Makes 0 sense at all. None whatsoever. And no bank wants that. But that is the position that we're in right now. And so this is the reason why you've been seeing so much media push on this pivot. And when you listen to these guys and they're saying pivot, 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 now we know the reason why they're saying pivot, because their business depends on it. Their business depends on you purchasing a mortgage and them not losing money. That's the way it is. That is the reality. Now you can see the underlying reason. And here's the reason why stuff like this is so important. When you're listening to these guys and you're like,
yeah, he does have a point. The pivot, he's a smarter guy than me.
But now that you see the underlying reason, you're like, I see what he's doing. He's trying to push the Fed in that direction so they can make money. Oh, now that makes sense. That represents a 113% decrease from last year's average income of $2,339 per mortgage, and is the first time that posted negative profits for financing home loans since the MBA began recording profits in 2008. Guys, remember this. Last year, there was lines. There were so many mortgage applications coming in that banks couldn't even handle it.
Tell me exactly what stage you're in.
Josh, they were like, wow, there's so much money. You had realtors, people jumping into being a realtor that has never sold a house. We've seen so much of just tons and tons of business in the housing market. Tons of jobs being created. Record-breaking years happened last year. Now we're seeing that, oh, when interest rates go up, when the Fed continues to raise interest rates, oh, the demand goes down. But remember, some people were saying that were on YouTube, in the media, were saying,
hey, raising the interest rates won't stop demand. It won't dampen demand. What are you talking about? People want to buy houses, and the demand for houses will never stop. It doesn't matter if you raise interest rates to 10%.
well, where are we at now? Now we're seeing that, like I said, if you raise interest rates, no one is going to want to buy a house.
Ew!
And as much as I don't want to say it, you have to remember people are living on a monthly basis. The payments need to be low to be affordable. That is just the truth. That's the way things are right now. We're not looking at the overall price. People are financing and looking at the monthly. And if the monthly does not add up, if the monthly is something that they can't afford, they're not going to purchase the home. And that is the reason why we want to see interest rates go up. Not because I don't want people to be able to afford a home. That's not the reason why. Because I want prices of the homes to drop. And as demand stops, prices will drop on homes. And that's what we've been currently seeing. But still the message of pivot, pivot, pivot is coming out, and you're wondering where it's coming from. It's coming from a direction of banks and institutions that want to make hand over fist money.
Awkward. So awkward.
And we're seeing the reason why now, and here's the evidence showing you that they are down 113%. Not only that, but they're losing money on every mortgage transaction that they're doing. Now, let's see the reason why they're saying this is happening. It said that's largely due to the decrease in housing market activity. Prospective buyers are holding back from the market as mortgage rates hover near a 20-year high and limited housing supply keeps prices elevated. Banks and other mortgage companies each financed about an average of $2.6 billion in loans in 2022, roughly half of the $5 billion figure in 2021. Now, is that surprising? No, it's not surprising, because if you just heard what I just said, of course, if you have a lower demand, then there's going to be lower profits. But the point isn't to prove to you that, of course, loan production is down, financing. That's not the point. The point is to prove to you, to let you know the reason why these guys are trying to push the housing market in a direction that benefits them. That's the point. So next time when you see the Fed talking about, I'm speaking to businesses, I'm speaking to banks to see how this will affect them, you have to know which side that the banking industry is on. You have to know what side is in the Fed's ear when it comes to mortgages and whatnot and what they want. I know it's not too surprising that banks and hedge funds are greedy. I mean, that's not really a big surprise to anyone. But the way that they're trying to be undercover greedy by whispering in the Fed's ear and saying, you need to pivot, please pivot, because we're losing money. And telling you, on the other hand, that if we pivot, it will help out the economy. It will help everybody out. But in reality, it just will help them out.
As a joke,
it will help them make money and get them out of the rut of losing money on every mortgage that they do. But this is interesting. It says, meanwhile, the cost of financing a loan has gone up. Really? What could make financing of a loan going up? Oh, could it be inflation?
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Is that what it is? What the Fed should be fighting against and what banks are really telling the Fed opposite to do? That's kind of funny. So you're telling me that banks are fighting to keep inflation going up over profits? That's crazy that they would do that. That's nuts. As the decline in workers isn't fast enough to make up the decline in businesses. And I tell you guys this all the time. What will companies do before they invest in anything else to cut losses that are happening? And this is no different when it comes to losing money on every mortgage that you do. They're going to try to get rid of workers. They're going to fire you.
I'm fired, aren't I?
Oh, yes.
They're going to decide, you know what? We're going to cut our force by half and see if that can make it up. But look, this is the biggest thing, guys. I want you guys to understand. Even with them getting rid of their workforce, it still wasn't enough to save them from the losses that they're having from making every mortgage and losing money of $301 for every mortgage that they're financed. It still wasn't enough. Banks and mortgages spent an average of $10,624 to finance each home in 2022, representing a 23% cost increase from 2021. So we can see the reason why they're losing money. It's right here in plain English. That includes workers, office, all that stuff, electricity. They're putting everything into that. That's what it's costing individuals. The rapid raise in mortgage rates over the relative short period of time, combined with the extremely low housing inventory and affordability challenge, meant that both purchase and refinance volume plummeted. The stellar profits of the previous 2 years dissipated because of the confluence of the declining volume, lowering revenues, higher costs per loan. When the income drops, but expenses rise, inflation, then what do you get? You come out with losing money on every loan. It says some experts warned last year that the housing market could see a huge correction as shrinking demand leads to a drop in home prices. Home prices could fall by 9% this year, one MBA board member previously said. Other experts have predicted a more mild correction. So at the end of the day, what does this mean for you? What does this mean for the everyday person that is trying to finance a home? Well, I mean, two things can happen out of this. Either we will get better deals from banks, which I wouldn't hold my breath on that. That the banks will be greedy. We have a credit crunch happening, and I can't see banks deciding,
You know what? We're gonna go ahead and lose more money on top of losing $300 on every single mortgage.
I can't see that happening. What I think is more likely to happen is there will be increased costs that will be pushed over to you as the consumer. So it's gonna make it harder for you to be able to afford that mortgage or that home loan that you're looking for, because that $10,000 in cost that continues to go up for all of these banks, they're going to push that cost over to you.
It's trash.
And this is the reason why I have said over and over again that you need to be prepared. So when the time does come for you to purchase that home, that you will have the available reserves, available emergency savings account, that your credit will be together so that you won't have to borrow from Peter to pay Paul, which is Paul would be the bank, right? Or the mortgage company, that you will have to do all of that moving and shuffling around to put yourself in a position to where you will lose in purchasing your new home. Some people are deciding, guys, and I don't want you to be one of these individuals. They're deciding to overpay on a home, and they're deciding to take a high interest rate, and they're also deciding to take all the costs that the mortgage companies and banks are piling onto them. On top of that, insurance is on the rise, doubling, tripling. Property taxes are also doubling, tripling, guys. Now, in your view, will you take on all of that burden, all of that baggage in purchasing a new home? Or do you want to sit on the sidelines with a purpose? Make sure you do your research. Remember, every market is local, guys. At the end of the day, it's your choice. My point is to just make the best decision for you and your family, guys. As always, I want you to know you won't get all of your information from this one video. I need you to watch this next video here. It will help you learn about the housing market, financial news, and get into your first rental property. The information you will get from this video will be gold, I promise. See you in the next one. Thanks.